Imagine two towers so tall they seem to touch the sky, symbols of innovation, economic power, and the American dream. Before we begin, I ask for your support. Please like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel. It helps my work immensely. And if you want to support even more, always purchase through the link I leave below. It's safe, it's official, and it makes all the difference in continuing to create stories like this. Now, let's get started. The Twin Towers of the World Trade Center were born from an audacious dream to transform New York into the economic capital of the planet. The idea began in the late 1950s with David Rockefeller, who wanted to revitalize the lower Manhattan area. He believed that if they built something monumental, something never seen before, they would attract companies from all over the world. Thus, the project for the largest financial complex ever imagined was born. Architect Minoru Yamasaki was chosen to design the towers. Ironically, he was afraid of heights, but he believed that very tall buildings should convey a sense of lightness and elegance. Therefore, he made narrow windows so that people would feel safer and created a revolutionary structure. Instead of heavy internal pillars, the towers would have a kind of steel tube around them, making them lighter and more flexible. This allowed each tower to have 110 floors, surpassing any construction of the time. The towers were built between 1966 and 1973. Hey, I'll share, subscribe, I'll leave a like, support my work by purchasing through my link below. More than 200,000 tons of steel and 45,000 cubic meters of concrete were used to raise them. There was so much material that if it were lined up, it could cross all of Manhattan, and to be launched into the sea. In this case, to be stood up, it was necessary to first raise the external skeleton, then the internal floors were fitted together like giant Lego pieces. They were designed to withstand hurricanes, earthquakes, and even the impact of smaller planes, common in the 60s. What no one imagined was that they would become the target of the largest attack ever recorded on American soil. Inside the towers, everything operated. Offices of major banks, technology companies, insurance firms, famous restaurants, stockbrokers, and one of the most visited observatories in the world. More than 50,000 workers passed through daily and over 100,000 visitors weekly. It was practically a vertical city. Among the famous people who worked there were artists, investors, and CEOs of companies that later became giants. Some scenes from iconic movies were filmed at the top, such as Kiss of Death and even stuntman training. Then came September 11th, 2001. Two hijacked planes struck the towers in a coordinated attack. The initial impact didn't bring down the buildings. They were built to withstand the collision, but the fire caused by the aviation fuel created temperatures so high that they weakened the steel structure. It wasn't the impact that brought down the towers, but the extreme heat that melted parts of the skeleton and caused the upper floors to collapse onto the lower ones, like an inverted house of cards. More than 2,977 people lost their lives that day, while approximately 20,000 managed to escape. Among the survivor accounts, one of the most famous is that of Stanley Premnath, who saw the plane coming directly towards him and survived because he threw himself under his desk. Another is that of Brian Clark, one of the few who managed to get down from the impact zone. He found a man trapped in the rubble, Stanley, and together they managed to get out, being some of the very few survivors from the point where the plane hit. The chief engineer for the construction of the towers, Leslie Robertson, wasn't there that day, but he gave emotional interviews afterward. He always believed that, despite being designed to withstand impacts, no one could have predicted what happened. Two giant planes, full of fuel, used as weapons. Rescue was delayed because, at the time, fire department radios didn't work well inside. The complex and emergency lines were overloaded. Furthermore, many didn't imagine the towers would collapse. Nothing like this had ever happened before, so teams went up to help just as the structure began to fail. They were heroes who went in when everyone else was leaving. Today, in place of the Twin Towers, there is the 9/11 Memorial and One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Their memorial pools are located exactly where each tower stood, and each victim's name is engraved there, so they will never be forgotten. A little-known fact: of all the recovered objects, one of the most symbolic was an entire staircase that survived the collapse. It was nicknamed the Stairway of Survivors because it served as an escape route for dozens of people. Another interesting fact: the passport of one of the hijackers was found intact among the rubble. Something that still raises questions and theories today. And so ends the story of the Twin Towers, not just buildings, but symbols of an era, of dreams, of tragedies, and of courage. And before concluding, I ask again, leave your like, share this content, and subscribe to the channel. Your support, including purchasing through the link below, keeps this work alive.